Hi, I'm here with Catherine Project, the president of Zamboni Revolution. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I've been to many Zamboni Revolution shows here at SU and have thoroughly enjoyed the performances you and your group have put on. Can you tell us what exactly is Zamboni Revolution?
Zamboni Revolution is Syracuse University's long-form improv comedy groups. We are, I think, the only long-form improv comedy group on campus currently. There are like two different forms of improv, and there's long-form versus short-form, so we're the long-form group on campus. We hold about 3 of our own improv shows on campus where we basically just like advertise around campus and make Facebook events, invite our friends and our friends' friends and whoever wants to come. And we will start the show off by asking the crowd for a simple suggestion of a word or an idea, or like having someone in the crowd give us their last text message, and we'll perform like a 25-minute set of just totally improvised scenes, and then we'll take a break and come back and do the same thing and ask for another suggestion and perform for another 25 minutes.
So the acts aren't rehearsed?
No, they are not. But we do practice improv. We will practice like twice a week, and in those practices we'll give ourselves suggestions and just totally make stuff up in that time as well.
Okay, and what topics do you stray away from and why?
We mainly have one topic that we do not like to mess around with. It's disabilities, because that would just be very distasteful and not something that should be comedic in any sense. But other than things that are like politically incorrect, like racial jokes, disabilities, that's about it. Other than that, basically everything is incorporated.
Fair game.
Yeah.
How did it get started here on Syracuse University?
The group started in 2001. From what I know, just 3 dudes who were interested in improv. I think from like more of a theater background, because improv is a technique a lot of theater students learn to help them with their acting. Decided to start a group, and ever since then we've been recognized on campus and had a good relationship with other comedy groups that are in New York City and in surrounding areas.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Zamboni Revolution and Float Your Boat?
So, I would compare Float Your Boat as a sketch comedy group, which is like comparable to the skits you would see on Saturday Night Live. They're written out with scripts, and they're meant to make you laugh. They're like thought about to make you laugh, and they're like more structured and organized and basically acted out. Whereas improv, we just have normal conversations with the people in our group, and funny things come out naturally. And there's a big relationship between improv and sketch comedy, because people like Amy Poehler or Tina Fey, who did improv, a lot of their sketches on SNL rooted from some skits they may have done while doing improv. So that's how they like are related, but they're completely different like genres of comedy.
Okay. About how many members are in Zamboni Revolution?
We just had auditions, so we added 3 new members, which gives us a total of 10. But 10 is actually a pretty big number for us. The past semester we had 7, and one of our members is currently in New York City doing an internship, so we technically have 9 for the semester. But it usually stays around that type of number, like 7 to 10.
Okay. Is it important that the group stays around that size? It doesn't seem like that many.
It is very important, because if you're doing improv, you need to be able to understand the people you are doing improv with, because if I come in with a certain idea, my partner will normally know like where I want to lead with that idea, whereas having just completely random people always stepping in, it's more difficult to build scenes that make sense. So
Okay.
having like a smaller group allows you to like get to know your group, which is very important, especially for us, because we like our shows rely very heavily on us understanding each other and like having a similar way of presenting our comedy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. So it's important that you guys are kind of like a tight-knit group.
Yeah.
Feel
And
very comfortable with each other.
And we make that a point, like when we try to get new people involved, it's gonna be more than just doing improv. It's gonna be being a part of the group.
Okay. That's actually part of one of my next questions. It says, what do you look for during auditions, and how do you know someone will fit in well with the group?
Auditions, our process is, it takes 2 days. So on the first day, it's for the people trying out, but it's also for us. We'll hold like a workshop where we sort of start watching people, how they interact with others, and then like we have them perform different things for us. We teach them more about ourselves, and we introduce them to some of the exercises we do in practice. And those exercises are like more specific to us than like other improv groups. So how people like do in these exercises is like kind of an indicator to us how they would like interact with us in a performance. But for the second day of auditions, we start incorporating ourselves into performing different scenes. So that's how we sort of get a feel for how they are going to interact with us. And like we will call each other out. We'll be like, I want to have Ben do a scene with this person doing an audition, and we try to like sample that type of interaction so we can ourselves know and see who we're comfortable with.
Okay, I think that's really important because you need to see like if they can work well with the team that you guys already have.
Exactly.
Which is very important. Was improvisational comedy a hobby of yours before you came to Syracuse University?
It actually was not, which is very different but kind of specific to Zamboni Revolution also. A few of our members have never done improv comedy, which then like relates to how our improv comedy form is a little different than other groups, because we have a specific personality type almost that we look for and have with our improv. But we also have people who did improv, but that goes like that's a whole different thing. But for me, I was introduced to improv by a girl in my sorority. Actually, me and her got along very well, and she had been in the group, and she begged me to come try out just because of like my sense of humor. And so that's kind of how I got into that. But other people, like for this year's auditions and last year's, there's plenty of people who have done improv in high school and they want to continue here. And so that also happens for certain members of our group. But yeah.
That's really awesome because it's a hobby that you didn't have before, but then you got introduced to, and then it was something that you're really interested in.
Yes.
What is something you have learned about improv that you didn't know before you started?
It's actually very like technical, because as carefree as it seems, we're all making something up, but we are making things up in a way to like better present the scene to the crowd. So there are like rules that we need to like, if you see two people on the stage and you hear those people like being like, Mom, like you can't do that to me, it's almost like a rule for us to give each other names and different relationships. Because if we were just two people being like, oh, you can't do that, then it's kind of like, why not? But if you're like, Mom, you can't do that, the audience can already gather certain ideas from their experiences, like what could Mom be doing that isn't okay. So there's a lot of rules that go into it and more thought than you think, but it's still not rehearsed.
Okay. Have you guys ever had people come in who were experts kind of just to give you pointers or tell you how to, like, better yourselves, I guess?
Yeah, actually, we had a grad student coaching us for like maybe 4 to 5 years almost, and he recently just left. He got his like dissertation taken, PhD taken care of. So he was from the Upright Citizens Brigade Comedy Club in New York City, and he like heard about us through that theater and that we were on SU campus and reached out to us and asked if he could coach us. So we had an awesome coach for a good amount of years, and he would teach us what like the real improv people would teach us, like from New York City. So that's how we like got better. But we also hold shows from the Upright Citizens Brigade, which is like a theater that Amy Poehler started in New York City just for improv. They have different classes there, and they have a bunch of different groups. So we've hosted a show where their touring group came to campus, and before like they performed, they would coach us on our performance when we performed for them, and they gave us like professional pointers. So that's been awesome. But yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the most important thing to know when performing in a show?
That it's okay if nobody laughs, because realistically, like, you're not up there making jokes. It occurs naturally. So if you just go on and like basically perform a natural scene and nothing's strange and nobody laughed, that doesn't mean it was bad improv. Like, improv makes people laugh, but you're not up there trying to make people laugh.
Yeah, I feel like it can be nerve-wracking sometimes.
Yeah. People put pressure on themselves to like make people laugh, and that almost takes away from like the natural like improv comedy.
Yeah.
Because
What is your favorite part about improv?
My favorite part, I think from my experience, like it's been very special having like my own group, and everyone that I am in this group with, I consider them to be my best friends, and we hang out all the time, and that's very special. But having a twice a week meeting where I can just be very weird and do the weirdest things, and like the members of my group will laugh because we're all like, what the heck, like why are we doing this if something strange happens, but also that I have somewhere to go where I know I'm gonna laugh, whereas people like usually just laugh in a normal day-to-day setting, but when I'm going to practice, I know I'm gonna laugh for 2 hours or make myself laugh. Somebody's gonna make me laugh, and that's like a very nice place to go to.
Lastly, do you plan to continue improvisational comedy after college?
I think I will, but I'm not sure to what extent. There's a lot of opportunities in New York City and like Chicago or LA, and you can always have your own group and do improv, but it gets kind of expensive to take improv classes. There's so many different things you can do, but they cost a lot of money to like take classes and get recognized like professionally. If I were to go to New York City to the Upright Citizens Brigade Comedy Club, I would have to first take an entry-level course, then move up from that entry course to this level, and I have to pass a certain amount of levels before I can have my own team or get placed on a team.
Yeah, that seems difficult.
And then it's a very long process, but as for like just doing it when I want to do it, I think I will, and I hope to like continue that with the people that I've met through Zamboni Revolution.
Okay, well, it was really great to meet with you. I'm really looking forward to the shows this semester.
Awesome. We have one tomorrow.
Okay, I'll be there.
All right. Thank you.